Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So, as I promised, today at 3 Eastern, we're going to go over your question and answers. And to tell you the truth, I was expecting that I would be back at an office or a coffee shop, but I had two meetings that ran late today. And although they were very fruitful, alhamdulillah, I'm here in the car while we're getting gas. So, let's talk a little bit about your questions that you put in. So, first, Gulzar asks, if I'm in a partnership that is not 50-50, how are losses calculated? Well, the principle in partnerships is الوضيعة على رأس المال والربح على ما اتفقا عليه. Losses are borne by the capital invested, and profit is split according to the agreement. So, if I agreed that our profits are going to be 70-30, and let's say, for example, there's $100,000 that's put in as capital, and we bear $20,000 in losses, then if we were to dissolve the company, then $80,000 would go back to the person that contributed the capital. And let's say I was the working partner, and I didn't put any capital, but I put in my work. I have lost my time and my effort, and they lost their money. If we both put in capital of 50K, and then there's a 20K loss, then we will both get 40 back. If we put in 70-30, then it's going to be proportionate to what we've done before. Dino, assalamu alaikum. Yes, all is well, alhamdulillah. Good to see you. So that's the general principle about partnerships. And Darshan asks, how do we invest in equities? What are some of the what are some of the investment guides that we can read? So I would say for good overviews of investments, you should look at a book called The Best Investment Guide Ever. That's the actual title of it. Another one is The Boglehead Guide to Investments. Another is, I wrote it down here, Thinkorswim has a simulator about investment, so you can take that out. Investopedia does as well. And then also, I think Muhammad later on, he asked, what specifically for Islamic finance, what could we consult? I like Wiley Finance's Islamic Finance Guide by Muhammad Ayub, with one Y, A-Y-U-B, Muhammad Ayub. That's a good guide that you can consult. Azad says, what is the ruling on savings accounts? Well, taking interest on any money is haram. And so if you have a savings account, then you have to absolve yourself of that money. Now, somebody may, at times, not be able to keep their money in a checking account because of the large amount. Their bank may mandate that they put it into a savings account for certain protections. It depends on your individual situation. But in general, if any interest is earned on a checking or a savings account or an investment account, then that should be absolved and that should be given away like you would give away sadaqah to the poor. And you do not have to tell them that it is from interest income. You simply give it away. And that is according to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in Sahih Ibn Hibban, that he said, من اكتسب مالا حراما فليس له أجر فيه وعليه يتصدقه ووزره عليه. Whoever earns haram wealth, then he has no he must give it away in charity. He has no reward for doing so, and he is sinful for its earning. Talha asks about drop shipping, and he asks if I can do greater detail about drop shipping. He said my article explained my position, but what about the other positions? Well, Talha, I don't know the other positions that you're referring to. If you want to drop some links in the comments so that I can see the arguments that other people are making, but I can't rule simply on conjecture. I can only give a ruling according to the truth as I know it, and from what I know about the technical side of drop shipping, as well as the Shari'i side of drop shipping, then according to the article, it is fine as long as you follow the conditions and the stipulations that I mentioned in the article. Imran asks, Tesla, is it Sharia compliant? Off the top of my head, I don't know. I would have to review The industry obviously is Sharia compliant, but are the financial Sharia compliant? I don't know. I haven't reviewed their balance sheet, their income statements. I would need to do that. Muhammad Rotterdam says, I have a credit card, and if I have a credit card and I agree to the riba that's in it, is it still haram for me to take? Well, the issue about credit cards goes back to a principle in the Sharia, and that is, هل الشرط الفاسد مفسد للعقد? Does an invalid condition invalidate the contract? And the more predominant or stronger of the two opinions of the ulama is that an invalid condition does not invalidate the contract. And that is because the Prophet ﷺ, as is in Sahih Bukhari, ordered Aisha to free Barira and to give her her owners, he stipulated for her owners their wala, or her allegiance. And the Prophet ﷺ said, فَكُلُّ شَرْطٍ لَيْسَ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ فَهُوَ بَاطِلٌ وَلَوْ كَانَ مِئَةَ شَرْطٍ. Because every condition that's not in the law of Allah is invalid, even if it's 100 conditions. So he allowed the contract to continue, although it contained an invalid condition that she was being forced in, because there was a greater benefit of having that contract. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're doing business, traveling a lot, and you need a credit card because that's the only way that you're going to be able to run your business, by all means, it's fine for you to have. However, if you don't have a need for a credit card and you don't even know the basics of budgeting, I don't encourage you to have a credit card at all, because your debit card will actually do most of what your credit card will do nowadays. Most of those fatwa that came about credit cards a long time ago were when debit cards did not function like credit cards in most aspects. Let's see, Waqas asks about mortgages and idar. Bayumi says, how am I going to buy a house without riba in the United States? Well, I did like a 2-hour webinar on this a couple months ago, and the webinar is available on my website, joebradford.com/joebradford.net/courses, COURSES. You'll find the link at the top of the website, and go and consult that. I talk in detail about the different types of financing that are available, conventional, Islamic, off the books. There's a lot of detail there that I can't go into this short video with. Waqas and Ammar both have a question about investing in their 401ks. I did a 3-hour webinar about retirement planning and retirement investments, and that's also available on the courses section of my site. And the short answer, though, is that yes, it's permissible for you to invest in your 401k. However, you will need to make sure to try and make sure that the stock offerings or the fund offerings have the largest number or the largest amount of permissible equities possible. And that may mean that you have to wait until you can drop like $1,000 into your 401k account and then open a self-directed account and then basically mimic the returns of like Amana Fund or Iman Fund or something like that, which are they're pre-screened for Sharia compliance, and all the details are there in the webinar. Waqas also asks, how do I purify the haram wealth that I earn on stocks? And that is because sometimes in the secondary earning of even permissible shares and companies, there can be very minute amounts of interest. And as we mentioned before, it's a wajib, it's obligatory for us to absolve ourselves and purify ourselves of that. The absolution process, the purification process, I detailed in Simple Zakat Guide. There's a whole section on haram earnings. How do you calculate it on the stock price? How do you calculate it on the dividends? How do you calculate it on fixed income and bonds if you have those? So consult that. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it on in print. It's available on Amazon, on the Kindle, as well as in print. And Muhammad Wa'afia asked me to comment about a modern Islamic movement, and I'm not going to do that because I don't comment on those type of things unless it is in a detailed article that has some objectivity. But to comment on movements and things like that over a video doesn't really bring a lot of benefit to what we're doing and what we're talking about right now. Sometimes it's better to be silent than it is to speak, because it's very important in issues like that, ideological issues, to be exact when you talk about them, because you're not only talking about religious positions, you're talking about cultural, social, ideological phenomenon. And that is it. Gulzar, Jazakallah khair wa iyyakum. This really helps. I'm really glad. Idar, I got your question. Noreen, thank you for sharing the video. If you guys are there, let me see. Give me a few likes. If there's no other questions, then I am on my data plan right now, so I'm going to switch off. And inshallah ta'ala, try and do this in the next couple of days. If you enjoyed it, like the video, let me know. Let me know if you want me to do these more often, spontaneously, or we can plan them maybe once in a week. And I'll see you later. Assalamu alaikum.